Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. The plan for today is to work on two distinct trees in my collection. Quite different things we're going to do today. The first one you can already see right here. It is a project I have been growing now for a bit over half a year, I would say, and it is a root over rock project. So I hope you can spot in here the little rock that is currently still buried in a lot of soil because right now I'm trying to get those roots of this tree to attach to the rock. Of course, we do this underneath the soil because this way the finer roots that would otherwise dry out can still now attach to the rock, grow thicker, and then later on will survive once we pot this way higher into a bonsai pot and then have a nice root over rock look. The problem with this tree, or I wouldn't even call it a problem, is the excessive growth you can see right now. As you can see, a lot of growth from up here. This, of course, is normally a good sign. However, what I see as a problem right now is the missing taper on this tree. So when we speak of taper, we speak of the changes in width from the trunk at the bottom all the way up to the top. So normally it becomes thinner and thinner all the way up to the top, which simply gives the illusion of an older tree, because in nature, older trees normally have very nice taper, at least most varieties do, and that is something we try to mimic in bonsai. However, especially when you grow something from quite small stock, you don't have this taper right away. So we could now try to bend this somehow, give it a bit of a shape, but this still wouldn't change the underlying problem we have with the missing taper. So I think we have to be a bit more drastic today and actually prune this back to a point where we think we can grow nice taper from in the future. And we do have this little side branch here that almost sits perfectly at a nice height, not too high up here. We already can see that the branch itself is way thinner than the rest of the trunk. So even when this continues to grow, the trunk will thicken, the branch will thicken, but it will still always be smaller than it is right now. So that looks like a good spot. What I also noticed here, we have some dieback from previous growth here. I'm not sure this is fully died back. I mean, some of them, probably this one. Here, I think we still might even see, once we prune back, a little bit of energy of the tree being put here in again, and we might even see some growth then coming from this direction. But this also means we have to sacrifice all this nice growth up here that we have right now on this tree. And if we look at it from all different sides, I mean, in itself, very healthy growth, but you will spot right away it does not resemble a bonsai in any form. It is just a ficus tree in a pot, and of course we want to change that over the next couple of years actually. First of all, giving it this little root over rock look, which will make it look definitely more interesting in a bonsai pot. But apart from that, the tree itself also needs to look the part, and that's why we will have to do this step today. And for that, I would simply get normal secateurs or garden shears, and we will make this cut right here. So this is the first important thing I want to do on this tree today, is really a structural change to this tree by taking out this entire top of the tree. And after we've done this, what I will definitely do is propagate this part, because it is a nice looking tree. Ficus benjamina normally propagates quite nicely, so it would be a waste to simply discard this. We will propagate that. So I will try to go as closely as possible in here to get a flush cut, and then we just cut through here, and that's already it. You can see it is really the majority of the tree we took off here now. But over time, this will be beneficial for the look of the tree, because we will improve taper this way. You can already see down here, we have a slightly thicker trunk base here, and now it starts to flare out nicely all the way to the tips here. What we do with these parts, I think the lower one here I will cut off, because this seems to be dried out. Yes, definitely, there was no more energy in this one. We can take this one also fully out, and this one I will only shorten a bit, because I do still see some green here actually. So I see green below the woody part basically, which normally means there is still a chance that there will be new growth coming from this part. So we'll leave it on and see how it goes. But I'm certain we will see some back budding on this tree. We took out such a huge part of the tree. I will not cover these wounds. You can see right now anyway the sap of the tree already starting to form. Ficus is a rubber tree, so you do see the usual liquid coming out here. It will seal the wound quite nicely, so I'm not worried that there will be any infection or anything in there. And we will leave it at that for today. There's not much more we can do. we prune some dead branches. We will see hopefully then a lot of energy going, of course, into the growth up here. I can see a little growth tip even here, so we do see some ramification on this part. And hopefully in the future, this will help us in achieving a nice root over rock look. Also now from the size itself, I think it will fit better again with the overall rock that is in here. Otherwise it would have been too high anyway. So we will try, of course, to also keep it reduced in height, which of course is always a goal in bonsai as well, and see how we go from there. But after, of course, this has been done now, we will keep this growing for as wild as it wants to be, basically, simply to strengthen the trunk in here and also the roots that are attaching themselves to the rock. So I will keep you updated on this, and I would say let's move already on to the next tree for today. So the second tree is clearly already at a different stage when it comes to its bonsai journey. We can already see it is in a bonsai pot. It also has an accent stone, but this stone actually is glued into this pot. So when I purchased it, there was another tree in here, and it came with this glued in rock. In another video I already showed where I repotted this tree. It fits quite nicely to this rock simply because it had this leaning part here. It had a missing trunk or a missing root actually here that was cut at a certain point, and it was quite unsightly, but we can hide it quite nicely here with the rock, and it almost looks like it's leaning on this rock. So I do find the look of it very well fitting. However, the problem we have with this ficus ginseng, which it is very often the case with those ficus ginseng blocks you can find in box stores, for example. And I think from this side we can see it the best. We have all the growth in a circle around this part where it was chopped actually. And there's no crafted part to this tree, so this is all the growth that naturally would come from this root base anyway. This means that we need to decide which branches we actually want to keep, because we have a lot coming from the same growth points around here, from the same nodes. It will get crowded, it is already crowded to be honest, and we will have to counteract quite fast and quite early on, otherwise they will become woody, they will leave unsightly marks here at the part, and simply they will also of course compete for the energy within this tree, and that's not something we really need when we can already focus on certain branches and give them all the energy the tree can provide. So I would say we simply walk around this tree now together and see where we have to take out branches. And let's start right here at the front. I see at minimum 2 competing branches. I can already see this one here seems to be not as healthy. It doesn't really have a lot of growth. So we can simply take that out right away, clear out a little bit. And then we have here still 3 branches. We have one up here, one down here that also doesn't look too healthy to be honest, and a very small one right here to the side that I will also take out right away, which leaves us with 2. And I would say I prefer the one growing upwards here. It is already showing signs of becoming woody, definitely more than the other branch here, and the health of the growth is simply better. So we leave this one on, which already has removed all the other growth now from here. So we have really only one on this side. For the moment, of course, we will hope that all the branches we leave on here today will start to ramify, so they will start to bifurcate, they will shoot out secondary branches and tertiary branches and fill this tree quite nicely nevertheless, but it won't be a lot of growth coming from the same point. That is something we want to avoid. Down here we also have a lot of growth, which is interesting. It's definitely a different growth point than everything else up there on top, but nevertheless so much growth coming from one point here. So let me just see. The smallest ones I take out right away, the ones that I really have just started to form that don't look too healthy. Those often already show signs of being kind of sickly because they don't get enough energy. And once we take that out, we have 2, 3 still left here. What I see here as a potential problem is this one here is quite in parallel to the one on top. Probably won't give us the nicest look in the future. So here it will make sense to already correct this by taking this out. And now I actually see this here isn't a second part from a growth point. This is actually already starting to ramify here. So this is coming from one branch and a little secondary branch starting to form here. So we'll leave this on for now. And another point here with a lot of growth, We have one down here with the most leaves probably, I would say, but also a bit sickly. Two in parallel here. Once again, I will go in here and take out a smaller one to already clear it out. And the same here in the back, again, a very sickly one, which doesn't really have a lot of leaves here. Probably already fell out because the tree was focusing on other parts to distribute its energy. So we can take this out, which leaves us again with two branches. Here it's a bit more difficult to decide. Here we definitely have maybe not the best position, but healthier growth. Here the growth looks a little bit nutrient deficient almost, so I might say I'd rather take out this part here, because this can still be formed and wired in another direction. Probably not even necessary to wire it, just rotate the tree towards the sun and it will grow so by itself. But this leaves us in general now with 3 growth points, so a branch here, and a lower branch right here. To be honest, not too bad as a start for further branch development over the next couple of months and years. When growth season really starts to kick in, we will see those 3 branches continuing to grow. We will then, of course, also prune them back at a certain point to encourage the tree to also bifurcate and ramify. And that way we should create a nice canopy. It is definitely less crowded now. Might even look a little bit bare, of course, but keep in mind this is not a finished tree. This is definitely a starting project at the moment still. And for those projects to look good in the end, they have to go sometimes through phases where they really don't look that sightly. That is simply part of their progress, basically. But once again, I will keep you updated on this little tree. I think it will do quite well also over the next couple of weeks and months. This also really has never slowed down with the growth since I repotted it. It seems to quite like the soil and the pot it is in, and I will keep you updated on this. So I hope you enjoyed the 2 trees we worked on today. Definitely different things we did there today, both pruning, but one very, very severe structural pruning to improve the taper, and here more branch pruning to improve the overall structure in the future. Very, very long time in the future, but of course steps we have to already take now. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. And if you enjoy my channel, of course, feel free to subscribe to it. Hopefully we'll see you in the next video then. Until then, take care.